Well, if you're wondering what these festive colored shirts are, it is Spectrum Magic Night here in the Spectrum Arena. The shirts are supposed to represent the fall leaves colors here in Logan, Utah. And the crowd is all wearing these different colored shirts. And during the break, we had some halftime entertainment. That's Olivia Lee, ladies and gentlemen, doing an acrobatic set right above our heads here at the broadcast table. And Coach Jamal Mashburn Jr. has been excellent all year. He's been pretty good tonight, but if New Mexico is going to get back in this game, they're going to need more from him.
Well, the conference leading scorer at 19-5 has 9 points to lead the Lobos, but it's taken him 11 shots to get there. 4 from 11, 0 for 2 from the three-point line. I think the Aggies' perimeter length has given him some issues in and around the basket where he usually likes to finish. Not a bad half, but boy, 19 points in the hole are the Lobos. They're going to have a heck of a second 20 minutes here to dig out against this Aggie team.
By the way, not just him. Jalen House has not gotten going at all so far this game. They're going to need a lot more from him as well.
Jalen House 0 for 3, 0 for 2 from the three-point line. Not an assist and not a steal. Let's see if the Lobos can get off to a decent start here as the Aggies come out with a possession of zone. It looks like a little 2-3 zone on this first possession, which is kind of a clever move, I think, from the Aggies bench.
And this may be an in-game adjustment, as I did not see them run this in their practice. But a nice follow there by Alec is good.
Alec, the league's leading offensive rebounder. His best offense is to go fetch it off the glass and put it back in like he just did. They actually have the top two, he and Udeze, top two leading offensive rebounders in the Mountain West Conference. And the Aggies come back with a little set play.
And look at that. Dorius on the slam.
And what a very, very nice pass by Shane Bairstow, the senior from Australia. He put that one in a teacup for the big fella. He just had to grab it and lay it in.
Utah State is running again. Shoga up fakes, looks off a defender, and airballs.
Ooh, that's what I used to call a DNDI as a coach. did not draw iron, and you don't see that much out of Shoga, a very good three-point shooter.
Here's Odeze. Can't get it to go, it's short.
Odeze, that's not his sweet spot. He likes to catch it right at that low block and bring it at you. Dorius forced him out to about 8 or 9 feet again, and that's not where he does his best work. Dorius doing a great job on Udeze.
Oh, and nearly missed another highlight play. Dorius got up in the air and was hit. Here's the first one.
This was off a set play. This was supposed to go to Bairstow coming off what's called a staggered double, and he just lobs it up there and lets a big guy go. Make an easy one. Dorius having a huge impact on this game tonight. The largest deficit all year for these Lobos at 19-3 was 7 on December 12th against University of San Francisco, where they went on to win by 3, 67-64 in a low-scoring affair. They were down 19 at halftime here in Logan.
Keep in mind here, Udeze, who has been the best player on the floor for New Mexico, maybe for both teams, he's got 3 fouls. Yeah, and he's left out there.
Again, I just have to tip my hat to Traven Dorius, who a lot of times gives way to Dan Atkin, and he has done a really nice job defensively tonight. One of the, I think, top 5 players in the league.
Another tough shot, and it does not matter for Jamal Mashburn Jr.
I'm telling you, you can be on him like ugly on an ape, and he just hits it. At that 17-foot range, he is as near as automatic as I think you're going to get.
And Dorius is hacked by House inside as they were trying to set him up.
Watch Mashburn here coming off here, just silky smooth, and like I said, Shoga just hanging on him, and Mashburn just calmly hits the bottom.
And that is his 44th straight game in double figures. Longest streak in the Mountain West, second active in the nation.
As I mentioned, the leader Antonio Davis 133 straight games at the University of Detroit.
Long the stare down three, nearly got that to go. Jamal Mashburn, for those of you who recognize his name, he is indeed related to Jamal Mashburn Sr., former NBA player. As Johnson gets up in the air, it somehow winds up in the hands and out of the hands of Udeze. Johnson thought he was hit on the arm.
Udeze is an interesting study for me. The more I watch him, very, very well coached and versed in the low block with his feet, but only average hands. He really has trouble kind of hanging on to it. A lot of times you'll see him kind of bat it down and then pick it up.
Illegal screen, and House is on the deck. He's checking his face for blood.
I'm not sure who caught him there. Was that Dorius on the screen?
Looks it was Dorius.
Okay.
See if we can get a look at what happened. And
well, that was no love pat there, was it? When you're 7'1", 240 pounds.
And Coach, the officials may look at this, and I think they are looking at this because he extended his elbow into the face of Jalen House. That could be extracurriculars on the foul.
Either that or House extended his face into his elbow. I don't know. I guess that's open for interpretation.
Yeah, I'm not sure anatomy works like that, Coach. Okay. I mean, I've been around a while.
I'm just saying. But
only in superhero cartoons can a man extend his face.
I think you're right. I think this may go as a flagrant foul against Dorius, and if it does, that puts him in some foul trouble.
Yeah, that third look at it, it didn't look like it was anything malintention. He just, when you're that tall and the other guys are like planets orbiting around you, your arms kind of end up in places near the heads of certain players. Just maybe don't mean it, but he did not set the screen with his arms down.
Well, he has 2 personal fouls now. That will be his third, and then depending on what this call is here, but he's Dorius I'm referring to has, as I keep saying, had a huge impact on this game.
Referees will discuss. Pitino lurking for an explanation.
The second leading scorer for the Aggies in the first half, Atkins, with 8 points.
So they are going to keep it a common foul. And Coach, I could see it going both ways there. He did extend his elbow up into the face of House, but as I said, it didn't look like it was malintention, just kind of caught him in the wrong way.
Well, I just like it that an official came over and explained the call to me. As a coach, that very seldom happens.
Oh, what a
nice
backdoor
play.
pass from Mashburn to House. And House got up above the rim and finished over the top. Look at this pass, Coach.
Yes, sir. That looked like a Princeton backdoor pass there. And House, who is just fearless when he goes to the basket, that was really a nice play coming out of that dead ball.
And maybe that elbow to the face of House has maybe gotten his motor started a bit as he is finally on the scoreboard. Maybe he needed some jolt like that.
15-point game so far with these Aggies.
You would, of course, probably prefer to not be jolted by a hand to your face, but it works out, I guess.
Yeah, I would rather be motivated in a different way. And that guy is very quietly having a good game as well, Shane Bairstow.
And there he goes again, and here comes House.
Boy, you don't want to let him get started either, because once he gets going, man, oh man, is he hard to shut down.
Crowd trying to keep the Aggies with their foot on the gas.
Jalen House with 8 20-point scoring games in his career. 7 times in he and Mashburn's career, they've had 20 apiece in the same game.
And a bailout foul on the elbow. And here's a look at Jalen House here. It really comes from basketball royalty here. Eddie House, Jalen's father, you may remember him. He was one of the guys that played for the 2008 Celtics team, came off the bench with James Posey and hit all those 3-pointers. And of course, Mike Bibby is Jalen's uncle, and he's also related to current NBA player Daniel House Jr. I would say that's a lot of basketball in your house.
You couldn't wait to say that, could you? Use that little house analogy there. I like that. I like that. Good bloodline of Jalen House and his family. The Lobos have 3 1,000-point scorers in their starting five. But the guy who has scored the most points in his entire career tonight on the floor, Taylor Funk, how about him? 1,739 points coming in to tonight's game. A chance to be a 2,000-point scorer, although he's going to have to get a lot to get there.
Yeah, and he's had a long time to do it. He's a grad transfer after playing 4 years at St. Joseph's before coming over here to play his graduate transfer year at Utah State. See if they can get it back into the hands of House. It'll be Mashburn. Not that time.
And they went to Mashburn off a double staggered screen. That's 2 screens in a row at different places on the court.
Look out, here's Ashworth. Tip no good, second tip no good. Ball flying towards sideline, saved by New Mexico, and here they go again. House, and he swatted from behind. And coach, that time, no communication from the backside, and House is frustrated at his team for not telling him what was going on, but we'll see if they can figure all that stuff out. Well, New Mexico is in a tough spot right here against Utah State. Let's look at what they have done so far this year. 3-1 in quad one wins. Those wins against Boise State, St. Mary's, and San Diego State. Trying to go for a 4th one here tonight, but as we mentioned, haven't won here since 2016, and right now, Utah State is doing exactly what they should do, and that is protect home court.
Boy, they're taking care of business here on their home court, up 17 with just a little under 16 minutes to go. New Mexico got off to that great start, 14-0, the 3rd longest winning streak in their history. And then their 18-2 20-game record was the best in 45 years. So they have figured out a way to win, but they're going to have to come up with some magic here in this second half against an Aggie team that is gaining confidence and momentum as this half goes on.
Well, Coach, it is Spectrum Magic Night, but I'm sure Utah State intended the magic to be for them. But New Mexico's going to have to come up with something here. And you feel like it's kind of now or never here. They've got to make a run to chip into this lead pretty soon here. They're still caught in the air, and it's going to stay with Utah State.
Nice little half-court out offense there, getting Bairstow coming up off that double staggered screen, kind of a counter-flow type play, getting it to one side, bringing it back. I tell you, the Aggies, when they're really on, getting that ball moved from side to side, they can really run some pretty half-court offense.
Shot clock winding down. Does Ashworth see it? Just chucks up a desperation shot somehow at the backboard, and diving on the floor is Utah State. Bairstow, pump fakes, defender flies by. Eyeball.
And give Taylor Funk a whole lot of credit there, giving up his body. He got on that loose ball like a bum on a ham sandwich and ended up with a wide open 3-pointer for Bairstow. Boy, you love to see those big guys dive on the floor.
Yeah, Johnson, a crowd silencer, but here's this play by Funk.
Look at this great play by Funk. Those are the type of plays that win game. Then a shot fake, and a guy that only shot 12% last year from the 3-point line just buried that one.
And Johnson misses the end one. Offensive rebound, Odeze, no call. Body's hitting the deck, and Ashworth wants to slow things down.
Odeze came from the opposite side of the basket to get that. I'm telling you that he can really go get it off the glass. Not having a great night tonight. Utah State big guys have done a pretty good job of guarding him.
Bairstow again, nearly got that one to fall. Here come the Lobos with House. Great pass and a dunk there by Alec. It looks like that's a second flop, and I believe that means the basket will count. As it is.
I'm not sure what happened there.
Yeah,
I didn't see that go down.
See if we can get a replay on that possibly. Here's a look at the possible flop.
Funk
He's to
is
your
on
right.
the right trying to help there.
I don't know about that one.
Well, that was a great play by House there, and it was just a mess with people hitting the floor, and I don't know. That's again, this is a good crew, a veteran crew here, right on top of things.
15-point game here. Bairstow trying to look for that pick and roll. A little bit of trouble here offensively in this possession. Trying to make things up as they go, and they turn it over.
Bad turnovers by Funk there, leaving his feet before he knew what was going to happen. The game's played on the floor off at the end of the drive.
And a double team, it does not matter for Odeze.
And that's that great footwork I talked about by Morris Odeze. When he catches it down there, someone has really taught him to play in the low post. Great feet, just a really nice post move drop step there by the leading rebounder.
Coach, this is a big possession defensively for New Mexico. You feel like Utah State has dominated this game as Funk, a tough shot in the corner. They find themselves only down by 13.
That's Alec run the floor there.
And
wow.
Contact.
Watch the big fella here. Again, great footwork, drop step, and a great completion over Dan Acton. And watch Josiah Alec. He made that great defensive play on Funk in the corner and then just ran the floor like a scalded dog. And remember, he's 6'8", 235, outran every guard on the floor and did something hard to get something easy.
You know, it's not just the hair, but he really reminds you of Joakim Noah the way he plays. Just a straight hustler. Never gives up on a play.
I like the hair. It is just the hair for me. You know, at my age, boy, I'd like to have half that amount of hair. Boy, he just made a great hustle play on that last one. Again, defense at one end and just sprinted the length of the court and got himself to the free throw line to cut this game to 11 with a lot of time to play.
Each time New Mexico has had a run, Utah State has been able to answer it. What will they do here?
And with House and Ashworth, you kind of get the feeling they've almost canceled one another out until Ashworth made that great runner where his bread is buttered outside the three-point line. That was really a nice finish by the 6'1" point guard for the Aggies.
And that breaks a 9-0 New Mexico run. Can they continue to score? Oh, House has a look, and there it is. As he spun a defender around like a top, found himself wide open and knocked it down.
Ashworth did a great job of getting over that ball screen. House just reversed his dribble, found himself wide open, and I said as they have canceled one another out, they both score back-to-back baskets.
Here's House again. House is heating up, fires again. Not quite. That would have brought the House down for those watching in New Mexico, but not the House down here.
Still double-digit lead. Looks like Ashworth's getting tired for me. This is where they really miss right on Jones.
And that was a lot of fouling right there. Really could have called the foul much earlier. Dent was trying to deal with the attacking Aggie. And we mentioned Jalen House's name. He needed to be better for them to have a chance. And what better than this? The spin, the shot, the splash.
The conference second leading scorer, Dalen House, had a tough time in that first half. He didn't score at all, but he's found his rhythm now. 8 points in the first 9 minutes of the second half, and he has led his Lobos back into it. Still down 10, but a whole bunch of time to play.
Yeah, anyone's ball game here as New Mexico has finally decided to make a decisive run here. Every run, as we mentioned, Utah State has answered, but Mashburn has had a tough game shooting the ball, has still done his work, but if House can keep this streak going, they'll have a tough time keeping this New Mexico Lobos squad at bay.
Well, one of the things they've done is they've taken care of the ball. Only one turnover here in the second half. They had 8 in the first half, and again, once Jalen House kind of starts cooking a little bit, oh boy, this Lobo team can get hot collectively.
So here's Bairstow back at the free throw line. And rattles it in. 16 points for Sean Bairstow.
A big couple of free throws by Bairstow after the Aggies have kind of seized the momentum of the game. The 6'8" senior from Australia He's having a pretty good game.
This time they take it away from House. Somebody's open.
Good job by the big fella giving that ball up. Anytime I see a guy that big dribbling the ball, my skin starts crawling because that's usually an accident waiting to happen.
And that was a good job by New Mexico getting back on defense and acting a mistake, throwing it to the other coach who was not in the game.
And Atkins said, that's my fault. The guy that had a pretty good first half. He did get in foul trouble, but he had 8 first half points and 4 rebounds, but he's not played a whole lot of minutes because of foul trouble, coming off his season high 23 points in their win at Fresno State.
And that turnover, coach, kind of gives New Mexico a little bit more of a lifeline here because they had just turned it over to Utah State and the crowd got back into it. Here is Odeze again. Turns and boy.
I tell you what.
This guy.
He is a load when he catches it down there. And I thought that time Traven Doris did exactly what he needed to do. Just be big, be between him and the basket. And Odeze can just force it in when he gets it that low.
Almost near a double-double. He's got 10 points and 8 rebounds.
The Lobos with a little bit of a unique lineup. All 3 of the small guards in now. Dent, House, and Mashburn.
Running out of time here. Oh. And they'll wave it off. That was close. They'll say shot clock violation.
Wow.
That was very, very close as Akin flushed it down. And are the officials going to look at this? Let's see. And
yeah,
I think he got, well, I'm not sure. Let's see the top of the shot clock. Here's a, nope, he did not. But you didn't hear the buzzer. No one heard the buzzer in here.
The Lobos, I mentioned, playing 3 small guards together. They're playing small all the way around. They're playing Odeze as their post and Johnson, who's usually the small forward, as their 4-man. So playing ultra small. I don't know if I've seen him do this for a long time.
And Mashburn rattles in another one from that spot. He has bought real estate in, as you mentioned, Coach.
The middleman, Jamal Mashburn Jr., just calling the middleman. He got the best middle game, not only in the Mountain West Conference, maybe in all of college basketball.
And don't look now, Coach. It is an 8-point game. Bairstow.
Wow, what a nice move. Bairstow having a night. The senior from Australia coming off a 9.8 rebound game in Fresno. The season high is 18. He's done that twice. I think he just tied his season high.
Mashburn trying to manipulate, and did he step out of bounds? Yes, he did. And look at this absolute just washing machine he put his defender in, twirling around.
Well, he is long. Shane Barstow, 6'8", 190 pounds, with long arms. When he gets you in the paint, he's got a smaller guy on. He doesn't overpower you. He just kind of tree tops you in there and kind of gets up a little bit higher than what you're going to get up. Okay, the Lobos now back with a bigger lineup with the 2 post guys, Odeze and Alec back in, but still with their 3 guards.
Bairstow trying to keep his magical night going. One-on-one against a smaller defender and loses a little bit. Shoga reverses. Tap by Dorius, can't get him to go, but Mr. Activity once again. That's one of your favorite guys, Coach.
He really is. He's, you know, every player, every team, I mean, needs a couple guys that are role players, but star role players, guys that know their role, accept their role, and are stars in that role. And that is Traven Doris, one of the 2 married guys on this Aggie team, but he is content to start, but play kind of limited minutes. Usually a good free throw shooter. I thought he dropped his hand a little bit too quick there. I think it's so important to hold your follow through on every shot, but certainly on the free throw. Let's see if he shoots this one a little bit better. He's been pretty good tonight from the free throw line. He was 2 for 2 before that.
And unable to get that to go. That's about the only thing he hasn't done well, shoot the ball from the free throw line tonight, but he's been pretty good on defense, despite the fact that Odeze is having himself a game. You still feel like Dorius has done his job.
Well, he and Odeze are just doing hand-to-hand combat down there. That's two big old strong-willed guys.
Oh, and Dorius got it from behind, but not cleanly. Udeze on a nice feed there from Donovan Dent is going to go back to the free throw line, and that is Utah State's 4th foul.
I'm not sure who they called this on, Atkin or Doris or Atkin.
That was on Atkin.
Yeah, Atkin gave him, if they didn't call it on Atkin, he deserved to have it called on him because he hacked him pretty good across the arm. Udeze not a great free throw shooter, only a 62% free throw shooter, and that had side spin on it. That looked a little bit like a curveball going up there.
And look at some of these heads that the crowd has. I see Deadpool, Drake, Shrek, anything to distract the shooter, and looks like it worked there.
Udeze looks tired to me. He plays so hard, it doesn't surprise you that he's tired, but he looks a little bit winded.
Ashworth freezes, tries to get it to Atkin, and New Mexico takes it away. Extra pass. And Jenkins ran over a man. Who will the foul go on?
I think that's on Jenkins. Ashworth.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Doing his Ryland Jones impersonation, taking that charge. Ryland Jones, the starting point guard on this team all year, led the team in taking charges last year. He and Ashworth were really good together.
And Ryland Jones, multi-game starter for the Aggies, was injured, of course, in that Boise State game. It has not gotten to come back on the floor since then. And he's a big miss here for Utah State, but Funk is going to have it, fire and miss. And Ashworth has been a knockdown shooter. He still is a knockdown shooter, but his numbers have dipped just a tad bit with Ryland Jones not in his normal starting position. And that comes, Coach, of course, from more teams keying in on him.
There's Ryland.
Yep, there he is.
One of only 3 guys in the history of Utah high school basketball to be back-to-back Mr. Basketball at Olympus High School in Salt Lake City. His dad, of course, Chris Jones, coached at Utah, coached here at Utah State. His dad, a point guard. His high school coach, Matt Barnes, a point guard. This kid was a point guard when he left the womb.
House trying to keep the streak going. Atkin, nice rebound again, and Atkin has been excellent on the boards.
Taylor Funk has not hit a three-point shot yet tonight. Second in the league in percentage and threes made per game. And he has yet to tally, and that's coming off a game where he was 1 for 6 over at Fresno State.
Bairstow looking for something to happen. Great pass to Atkin, and Atkin, good job there getting Udeze to leave his feet.
What a nice pass by Bairstow there. Just continue to back his guy in. The Aggies trying to hold off this run by the Lobos.
Utah State trying to hold New Mexico off here in the Spectrum Arena. And meanwhile, Saturday primetime hoops is on Fox with a Big East clash as Villanova goes head-to-head with Creighton. It all tips off at 7:30 Eastern, 5:30 Mountain Time here on Fox. And we've mentioned a lot of times in this broadcast the absolute insanity of the fans here. And what can be more insane than hula hooping with a flamingo with no water anywhere in sight?
This guy's getting his money's worth, I'll tell you what.
They call him the Herd. That's the 4,000 strong student section here in Utah State. And boy, are they very, very innovative, to say the least. Here's a look at Atkin here. 8.6 boards for Utah State. And make it 9 as he battles on the free throw.
If you're wondering how the Aggies have cut into this lead, well, they're shooting 53% this half. Or the Lobos have cut into this Aggie lead. They're shooting 53%, and the Aggies only 31% here in the second half.
Back to a double-digit game as a beautiful left-handed hook there inside by Alec. Great move there, and back to single digits. 7 minutes to go.
Well, the Aggies I think, can ill afford just to trade baskets here in the last 7 minutes. They're going to have to get some stops and some consecutive stops.
Oh, he changed his mind. Oh, Jenkins thinks he got it clean.
Watch Alec on this play. The leading offensive rebounder in the league, who averages 8. Nice job in the post, going to his left hand there. One of the guys that they think might get to, one of the other guys get to 1,000 points. He came into this game with 902 points. He's going to have to hustle to get to 1,000, but man, oh man, is he active around that glass. I had their game about 10 days ago, a fist fight almost with Boise State over in the pit. Man, was that a competitive game. And Josiah Alec had 18 rebounds, and I mean each one of them more impressive than the other. He just played a whale of a game.
And Akin missed the free throw, but do we have a lane violation?
The second one of the night for the Lobos. I'm telling you what,
oh boy.
Coach Patino used those 2 lane violations to point out mentally things that they did wrong in this hostile environment.
And that gives Akin another do-over, and he makes good on that.
Seeing Barstow, the senior, tying his season high at 18. He's had 18 3 different times. Has really done a nice job at the offensive end tonight.
And what have we here as refs blow this dead?
Foul away from the ball, I think, on Funk, defending a cut to the basket there. Funk, as I said, having a hard time shooting it in from the 3-point line. 0 for 5 tonight. He's coming off a 1 of 6 outing at Fresno State, which means he's 1 for his last 11. Now, that's the guy who's second in the league in 3-point shooting and 3s per game. Having trouble finding his touch from beyond the 3-point line.
By the way, Funk picked up his 3rd foul. Shot clock is going down here. Lobo's got to get into some action. Johnson doing it himself, and an excellent move there by Johnson, poised and calm as the shot clock winds down, did not panic, and got exactly where he wanted, right to the basket.
Well, Johnson, I call a glue guy, the 5th leading scorer on this team, but making a nice move to the basket to keep these Lobos in shouting distance.
Back with you here in the home of the Aggies, where it's a 9-point game. And how about the night, Coach, that Sean Bairstow has had?
Sean Bairstow leads his team with 18 points, 7 of 10 from the field, 2 assists, 4 rebounds. At times, he has carried the Aggies offensively.
And Bairstow, another guy who has basketball family. There's his brother, Cam Bairstow, who played at New Mexico from 2011 to 2014, was drafted by the Bulls 49th overall in 2014. And another thing I want to mention about the Bairstow family is his sister Stephanie played at Utah State. Lots of basketball in that family as well.
Cam Bairstow, boy, he was a tough nut when he played for the Lobos.
And that's a big shot right there coming out of the timeout by Ashworth. And Patino, all he can do is shake his head.
15 now for Ashworth on 2 of 5 from the 3-point line. He and House have had quite the battle tonight.
And that's a big time answer there by Jenkins.
KJ
the crowd down. Yep.
KJ Jenkins, a co-captain on this team and a very, very valuable guy off the bench. And House and Ashworth just look like they've been chasing each other all night.
Oh my goodness! Did you see that pass from Ashworth? Eyes everywhere. And quickly, New Mexico responds again. And they want to tech because did he throw the ball back at the official or towards the baseline?
That's about the 3rd time tonight. Ashworth scored and House comes right back at him and scores. I mean, those two the small but outstanding point guards in the Mountain West Conference, they have kind of taken care of one another all night.
10-point game. Akin turning on the burners, getting to the basket, and he scores! Plus the contact.
Basket is good, 85-1.
And Akin has also been at the receiving end of some great passing by Ashworth. Look at this. Well, Ashworth, that's a shot.
That's a great read by Ashworth, too. House went under that screen, and then, as you said, eyes in the back of his head. And then what a great finish by Atkins.
Shooting one.
The Aggies have kind of regained their footing here, so to speak, up 12.
Atkins knocks it down. And Ashworth is the 5th leading assist man in the Mountain West. And boy, did he just put a show on display right there.
Well, I talked about it earlier in the game. He's 5th in assists, but leads the league in assist to turnover ratio. He hardly ever turns the ball over. 103 assists versus 33 turnovers coming into this game.
And the ping pong ends up in the favor of Utah State, trying to make that final run to take out the Lobos. But as we've talked about, it seems that every time Utah State has gone on a punch-like run, they've had an answer almost every time.
The Lobos' next foul will put the Aggies into the double bonus, which will play big here in the last 5 minutes. And a new season high for Bairstow, the senior from Australia, 20 points.
15-point game. And a foul on Utah State, but here's another bucket by Bairstow, and that was created, Coach, off of a nice dribble handoff right there from the big man Akin. Really could have passed to Akin. That was probably the second read, but took the first read, Coach.
Bairstow has made some very acrobatic plays in the paint offensively tonight. And again, he's not like he's 6'4". He's 6'8", 190 pounds with long arms from here to Hoboken. So when he gets in the paint, he can score over you pretty easily.
And Mr. Bassford just ended up with it. Break they needed, as here's House to the basket, and they catch a break. And House another. Man, hey, I think these officials have done a very good job letting these guys play. They knew it was going to be an emotional game. About 3 or 4 different times guys could have been teed up, but the officials letting them go. How about that, Coach?
I think that they've done a great job. I tell you, Richard Pitino told me when House scored 29 in their win against San Diego State, he was talking to everybody in the crowd.
House intercepts that pass, and Wild to the basket, and that's going to stay with New Mexico. That, ladies and gentlemen, is going to bring us to our final media timeout of the day. And here's a look at Bairstow getting into the lane. Utah State trying to close this one out. As a look at downtown Logan, as you see the snow on these cars everywhere, it has been a historically cold winter for the Utah Logan area. And here's a look at what's upcoming in the Mountain West. There's that big-time game. Circle that one on your calendars. Of course, it'll be right here on FS1. That's that Boise State at number 22 San Diego State. That game will be played for first place early on in the conference. And these two teams, whoever wins this, will be 1 game behind the leader. That's why this game is very much important for Mountain West.
Well, this has been a great year in the Mountain West. 5 teams in the top 37 net rating. I think there's a great chance that they could be 5 teams from this league go to the NCAA. That happened 10 years ago. 2013, 5 Mountain West teams went to the NCAA. And I think that could very easily happen again this year. This is just a great basketball league this year.
And Akin picked up a tough foul trying to force Udeze out of bounds. He picks up foul number 3. That'll put him in the bonus, and they'll be at the line. And can he get the back roll? Yes, he can. At the bottom of your screen there, what's called the net rankings is what their new metrics are to determine what are the best teams and strength of schedule, which all comes into focus when it comes time to decide who's going to the NCAA tournament, as Udeze knocks down 2 big free throws here for New Mexico. This is why this game is such a big game for both teams, maybe a bigger game for Utah State. Most experts saying that right now they're on the outside looking in as an at-large bid if they tend to take 4 teams from the Mountain West.
There's a whole lot of reasons it may be a bigger game for them. One of the main ones is it's a home game, and like any league, you need to win at home. And if you can manage a split on the road or maybe steal one, that kind of puts you in the catbird seat.
Ashworth creating, Shoga hesitated and missed that one. Johnson leaping and bounding in for a board. And here comes House.
Udeze, we failed to mention, a double-double, his 9th of the year.
And Akin couldn't control the rebound. Good pass there by House to get Mashburn. That wide open jumper, just missed it. Mashburn's just been a little bit off today. Not quite his normal self. 6 of 17 from the floor. And Udeze back in. He's got 4 fouls. You got to be careful.
Mashburn with 14, and House really kind of heated up this second half with 12 after not having any. Mashburn having not one of his better shooting nights. 6 for 18 now, 33%.
Big time possession here for Utah State. Ashworth thought about it.
They'll use that clock a little bit. They don't want to get too conservative, but they don't want to shoot it too quick either.
Ashworth looking for someone. Funk. And that one partially blocked. And Funk has flopped twice already. And looked to be some ball up there on top if we can get a shot of that.
Watch Dent.
Oh, man, Coach, what do you think?
Tough to tell from that angle. Gotta say, this is a pretty good group here. Good group of officials I'm speaking of, and I've never seen them change one after they've made that call, but that was a big one there. The worst thing in the world you can do is foul a jump shooter, and multiply that times 10 is to foul a 3-point jump shooter.
Yep. That's a big time swing here. And if this was the NBA, Coach, that was a perfect play right there where you have loved, if you were Richard Pitino, to have a coach's challenge. Of course, you don't have that in college basketball, but that one right there would have been interesting.
You know, I will say this, the official had a great view of that there. Funk, an 89% free throw shooter. That'll put him over 90% for the year.
And at the line as a team, they're 23 of 27. As quickly New Mexico scores on the other end. And guess who's scoring? It's Udeze again.
Udeze, his 9th double-double of the season, which leads the Mountain West Conference, and he's not going to miss many of those. If you get him a free lane to the basket there, he can be a very violent man if he's got free reign to the basket there.
Here's what's coming up for the Lobos. They've got a good one against a very pesky Nevada team who has played a lot better of late, and they play sort of the bottom part of the conference. But then that game at February 22nd at Boise State, boy, that's going to be a monster game.
Nevada had a huge win last night over San Diego State. That was right after getting, I don't know if you'd call it an upset win, going down to their arch rival UNLV and getting beat. So Steve Alford's team, like the rest of this league, one night a great win, the next night a hard-fought loss. This is such a competitive league this whole season. Again, I think this could be the year to get 5 teams in the league once again. That's only happened one time in the 24-year history of the league.
So, Coach, what's going through New Mexico's game plan right here? Time is not on their side. They have to get stops. How are they going to get back into this game with so little time remaining?
Well, they're not with 2:15 left, and especially against one of the best free throw shooting teams in the league, the best free throw shooting team.
And that right there may put the nail in the coffin. Officials will call timeout. I think the shot clock didn't reset, or they're checking to see if the shot clock should have reset, one or the other.
If you're New Mexico, to answer your question, you just want to continue to compete and play hard. It's a long, almost impossible shot for them to make up 12 points in 2 minutes against a veteran team like Utah State is, and they're the best free throw shooting team in the league. So if the Lobos try to foul to extend the game, that's probably not going to work very well.
Yep, that shot right there pretty much may do it here as House in the corner. Mashburn's going to try and keep them alive, and he keeps them with a heartbeat with the defibrillator right there and keeps it at an 11-point game. Still, time winding down. Got to start gambling for some steals here, maybe.
And New Mexico still playing very hard. One of the things that stuck out in my mind the first time I met Richard Pitino before the Boise State game is he said, I never have to motivate this team to play hard. He said they play hard every day in practice and super hard in the games. They're a very competitive group, so don't look for them to quit playing hard here in the last 124.
And now, Coach, it's really probably over as he had to foul Ashworth, and that is not the guy you want to foul.
Well, you wouldn't think so. Ashworth only shooting 85% from the free throw line, which is second in the Mountain West Conference. We saw a heck of a battle between he and House tonight. Two smallish point guards with huge, huge hearts.
Yeah, it's just a bit of a shame that House couldn't get going in that first half. Did get going in the second half, but by then, the route was on.
Both teams with 8 games left. Both of them with 4 at home, 4 on the road. And what a conference tournament this is going to be down in Las Vegas. I'm telling you what, if you want to see some great basketball and great entertainment, I'd go down to Vegas and go to this Mountain West Conference tournament. It is going to be a dandy.
And good thing Akin didn't get hurt on that play as he had his legs taken out as Alec was hustling for a rebound. Stoppage in play here as they'll wipe up the condensation on the floor. And referees are going over to review something. Not exactly sure what it was. It just looked like Alec was hustling for a rebound and accidentally took out Atkins' legs.
Well, this has been a very hard-played game. I've done a handful of Mountain West Conference games, and they have all been very hard played. I think that went out on Alec, and I think that was just incidental contact there.
And look at that, Atkins. Glad he was able to take that shot to the knee because that could have been not so good. Yeah. Good thing that he's okay. So it'll be Utah State ball. They're up by 13 with 1:13 to go in the game. I've seen stranger things happen, but as long as Utah State takes care of the basketball with no unnecessary turnovers, they should have no trouble closing this out.
Well, now they'll just take their time. They really don't need another basket because that right there is going to happen. Lobos are going to have to foul to get the ball back. And as I said, the Aggies, the best free throw shooting team in the league. The Aggies go to Colorado State after that. Then a big showdown with San Diego State coming here. You can expect a huge crowd for that one. Still a lot of basketball to be played. As I say, both teams with 8 games left, 4 at home, 4 on the road. And then the conference tournament, as I said, is going to be big time entertainment.
So New Mexico, a little bit disappointed that they couldn't knock off Utah State here. Continues their dry spell of not being able to beat them in this arena. As because they can't get it to go, but tips in his own miss. But, you know, this Utah State team, what they have going for them up ahead in this Mountain West Conference is, as we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, they have a lot of the top 4 and 5 teams coming into their house. They had a tough time on the road against some of these better teams, but they're going to have a chance to not only make their mark in the Mountain West, but to prove to the NCAA tournament that they can get some of these great wins.
And both teams, look at that, bodies still flying all over the floor in the last 30 seconds. Both teams still playing their heart out.
Utah State has been excellent at home. They'll improve to 11-1 at home, 5-0, undefeated in the Mountain West, as Stephen Ashworth has come over to us and just said, it's our house.
He really didn't need to convince me. I've been in their house before, and it wasn't a whole lot of fun for me as a coach. But what a great college game. The Lobos got off to a tough start, down 17 at halftime, and came back and made a game of it, but go down by 11, 84-73.
Take a look at the updated standings as Utah State has moved ever so closer up above New Mexico. And Coach, final thoughts on this game and the outlook for both teams in general.
Great basketball every night in the Mountain West Conference. With the whole month of February still to play, who knows what's going to happen, but it's going to go down to the wire and then to the conference tournament. Terrific basketball every night in the Mountain West Conference.
So that'll do it from Logan. A reminder, 3 more games headed your way tomorrow, starting in the Big Ten, followed by a pair of games for the Pac-12, including Washington at UCLA. And for Joe Cravens, I'm Derek Clark, signing off here from Logan, Utah, with a final score 84-73 on FS1.